Caranguejo, no Salto de Inhapa e Ponta Laça. Dizer que as florestas de mangás elas apresentam uma série de funções e serviços ecossistêmicos. Nós estamos a falar de proteção contra as tempestades, são berçário para alguns peixes e caranguejos. Dizer que a taxa de produção primária em mangás é muito alta comparativamente a outros ecossistemas e apresenta a maior concentração do carbono. Dizer que os mangás, elas apresentam a reciclagem de nutrientes em ecossistemas desempenham um papel. Os mangás desempenham um papel fundamental na reciclagem de nutrientes, como também na reciclagem global do carbono. Dizer que a reciclagem do carbono e outros processos ecossistêmicos nos mangás são importantes, fornecem importantes serviços ecossistêmicos para os peixes, caranguejos e camarão. E também os mangás, eles abrigam uma fauna associada que é única. Estamos a falar de caranguejos semiterrestres, insetos no sedimento, num substrato de sedimento mole, que também é usado por alguma comunidade de peixes. Estamos a falar de um sedimento que é duro, que alguns animais como bentos vivem lá. E temos aqui a nossa área de estudo, que é a ilha de Inhaca, que se localiza a 32 km leste da cidade de Maputo, que é a Baía de Maputo. E também os nossos pontos de amostragem, temos Saco de Inhaca e temos também a Ponta Rasa. Dizer que o Saco de Inhaca, cobre uma área de 2,1 km e está localizada numa pequena bacia fechada. E dizer a sul da ilha E temos as espécies dominantes nesse lugar, que é a Rhizophrya micronata, e a Avicennia marina. Dizer que na Ponta Rasa nós temos uma cobertura ou uma área de mangal que é de 0,2 km. Está localizado a sudoeste da costa, em frente à Baía de Maputo. E nessa área nós temos a vegetação dominante é a Rhizophrya micronata e uma mancha de Cereopstragal, Brugueiras moriza e a Avicennia marina. Aqui temos as nossas espécies que conseguimos identificar nos dois pontos, que é no Saco e na Ponta Rasa. Temos a cranuca inversa, temos a Austruca ocidental. Essas duas espécies diferem-se uma da outra devido aqui essa espécie tem um dente, enquanto que aqui essa espécie tem uma ponta mais afiada, meio aguda. Então, nos dois pontos conseguimos identificar as duas espécies. Tanto a cranuca inversa, a Austruca ocidental, e também tivemos aqui Pararatuca, e aqui tivemos e aqui na Ponta Rasa não tivemos a espécie, tivemos a Tubuca, e aqui na Ponta Rasa não tivemos essas duas espécies. Então,
Good morning. After that, we can talk about the material method. In this type of this kind of study, the two instruments that used to count and measure the holes of the crabs is these two: the binocular, not for sure not for bird watching, but for crabs counting, and the caliber to measure the distance between the barrels and the diameter of the smallest or the bigger one. And as you can read in the title of the project, we are trying to make a new methodology to do that, using the camera. For sure not for take photo of bird, but for crabs. And in this picture you can see me and my colleagues in the field work. In the first one you can see the bigger plot of 2 meters for 2, and that we use to count the crabs, and using painting to see them, and for the counting recognize the species. And we took other pictures, in particular 3 for each big plot. We put in the smallest square in 50 centimeters for 50 for measure the distance between the hole and the diameter, but not directly with the caliper. Maybe in future can be used this kind of photo to measure in the laboratory using the photo and the software called Imagey. And first of all, we have to specify the subdivision of the amount of plots. The first belt, this one, is dominated by Abyssinia marina, the dwarf of Abyssinia marina, and is flooded only by spring tide. And here we can see that Abyssinia is associated with Sesuvium, with Sesuvium. In the second belt, also dominated by Abyssinia marina, we can see in this photo, the second belt, that is flooded even during the neap tide. That is in the middle between this belt and this third belt, that is dominated by Rhizophora mucronata and Abyssinia marina. Even we can find the Cerops tagal and Bruguiera gymnoritza. And in this belt is being daily inundated as nearly permanently saturated soil. As a preliminary validation of this kind of methodology, we try to make both the method, the classic one, using the binocular for the first operator and the second one, and for to compare by the amount of crabs counted in the picture. As we can see, is mainly better the plots in the counting in the picture. With 2 exceptions in these plots and this other, we can see in this one in particular is the third belt that is too difficult to recognize the species and took the photo because we have to be near the square, and maybe sometimes we scare the animals.
Okay, so our principal goal was to propose this new methodology, as my colleague already said, but we collected some data, so we can do some of ecological consideration. So we can start with the frequency distribution. We compare 2 sites, Sacon and Punta Rasa. We divided in third belt, as my colleague already said, because of the third belt represents 3 really different ecological situations. So we expect really a different species composition. So as we can see from this graph, in the first belt and also in the second, that are really similar, as you can see by the precedent photo, we have a lot of Astruca occidentalis and a lot of Pranuca inversa, and a few individuals of Cristagma ortomanni. This composition is very similar to Punta Rasa, also if they present a really different structure, but this is not about the crab, so we are not going to talk about it. we can see that in the third belt show a really different composition of the species because of the ambient is really different. It's really shadow. We have a lot of rows of Rhizophora that will cover a lot of the plot. So it's really a different situation. As you can see, we have the crop composition is like Paralectuca chlorophthalmus to Buca urtillei in Saco. Also in Punta Rasa this is the situation, but the plot that I'm showing is different because there was an Abyssinia. So it's normal that we have a similar composition as the first and the second belt that present Abyssinia. So this was only a preliminary analysis for talk about the frequency distribution. Then we start with our analysis. First of all, we did a non-metric multi-dimensional scaling. This is very useful for spatial representing the interrelationship among a set of data objects. In this case, we compared the two different sites, so Sago and Punta Rasa, but considering also the three different belts. So we have, for instance, the blue triangle that means Sago, that's the site, and one that means first belt. As you can see, we have a pattern. So here we have all the data about Sago and Punta Rasa for belt 2 and belt 1. This is what we expected because, as I already see, they have the situation is very similar. It's interesting that this is another pattern, but as I already said, is what we expected. So this is only a confirm that when we collected our data, we was able to represent the zonation that we have in the third belt, in the first, the second, and the third belt. And this is only for a small compare. It's a work of the Professor Stefano Cannici. Here we want only to show that our graph is really similar to this one, and this one of the professor use only a binocular. So this is only for another confirm that our method can be really interesting because we have a similar result. Then we did another analysis. We did a permanova considering the amount of the crops. We did first one-way ANOVA considering the site, then the belt, and then also a two-way ANOVA in the two different sites. So as I already said, we confirm that we have a statistical difference significantly in each result. So this means that we have these three different belts. And here we did a simple that is an analysis that we use for understand the importance of each species in the different plot. For this analysis, we use the data of the number of the crab, the number of Gasteropoda, and present ascents of lichens, also the present and ascents of ant. Sorry, I forgot to write it. And this is our result. As we can see, sorry, okay. Yeah. Okay, as we can see, Ceritidea decollaca, that is this one, Cranuca inversa, these amazing crops, Neosermatium africanum is this one, and here we consider the number of the big hole that we saw in the plot, as Francesco told before. So these are the variables that we consider for this analysis. And as you can see, we have a really different contribution of these two species. But these are only preliminary consideration because we don't have a lot of data. So our focus was the methodology, but we want also to consider the implication in the ecologic system. But why we consider the Gasteropoda and the lichens and the ants? Because now we need to talk of ecosystem functionality. So we don't need to consider only the taxonomic, but we need to talk about functional diversity of macrofauna component of mangrove. This is very important also when we did something like restoration ecology, because we can't consider only the taxonomic part of the story. Here is just an example. Sorry for all the photos that are I already show, Arsenia already showed the photo, but that was for make this slide cute, so okay. And here is just an example for understanding how the crabs are really important for the ecosystem functionality. Here we talk about their alimentation. So for instance, Cranuca inversa and Astruca occidentalis eat microalgae. Paraleptuca fluorosthalmus eat nematodes, and district crabs eat leaf, and Tubucorvillae eat microbenthos. So this is important when we consider the impact that they have in the function. For instance, we can say that invertebrates have strong impacts on mangrove tree. Their biodiversity has a prominent role in controlling key aspects of mangrove system, such as their biogeochemical and ecological function. I show you the alimentation only for the biogeochemical part. And, but the crabs did a lot of amazing things. For instance, we can talk about the oxygenation of the substrate. Here is a work of the Professor Stefano Cannici. This, this is the soil, this is the anoxic part, the black one. This is all the carbon that is stored in the mangrove. So for this reason, the mangrove are really important. Also for other reasons, but and this presents a different color, and this means that this is the oxygen part. And here we can notice an amazing thing. This is a burrow of a crabs. So what this means? This means that when there is the low tide, the air enter in the burrow of the crab and make possible the oxygenation of the substrate. That is really important if we talk about the functionality of an ecosystem. And this is only a graph of these things. But the crabs do, as I already said, a lot of things. We can talk also about of the import and the export of the carbon, because for instance, this one who hit leaf and go deeper in the soil are able to take part of the leaf in the underground. So this is very important for the carbon stock. And we have also the carapace of the crab that contain calcium carbonate that contain carbon, so it's really important also for the carbon, especially in this moment we talk a lot of carbon, so it's a focus this. Also of import and export nitrogen and phosphate, so we need, so this shows that ecological study and management of mangrove should be done considering benthic biodiversity. And then we did also other measurement for estimate the biomass of the crab. So we did a regression, consider the weight of the carapace and the weight of the crab. This is divided for, we did this for each species. And this is very interesting because this can be faster our survey, because we don't need to measure the weight of the crab in each situation, because with this regression we have here an equation that make us possible the estimate of the biomass. Offshore we need more data, also if the R square is really, really good in this case. Good job Paracesarma, but we have 0.9. And, but we need to do a lot of consideration. We can consider this thing in the case where the female and the male has the same or more or less similar morphology, because for instance Paracesarma capensis show a good R square because its Q are symmetric, so there isn't a big difference from the Q of the male and for the Q of the female. Okay, because the male has the Q for the female is like a sort of dancing. And so it means that the weight is higher in the male, that has this situation like Cranuca inversa that show this Q. So in the case of really different morphologic traits of the crabs, we should divide the male and the female. So this, in this case, we cannot do this because our sample was not too big for dividing the data. So these data are for considering the male and the female together, and also the size, because when we want to estimate the biomass, we need to differentiate the 3 different stages of the crabs. Like the fish, more or less. So we have the juvenile, the medium, and the large one. Of course, this is species specific. And so this is only a preliminary study that need more data for really use this equation. And this is we last night measured the crabs and so. So, this is our conclusion. From the data analyzed, the proposed new method is effective, but need further validation because of our small sample. Then, the photographic method is valid both for the number of the species, so we can count the number of the species, and also for the species recognition, that is really, really important when we want to assess the functionality of an ecosystem. And then it allows to measure the diameter of the holes and the distance among the holes using, as my colleague said before, ImageJ, that is a software open access that need only a set of the scale. You can import your image and you can measure all the things that you want, leaf, holes, and a lot of things. And then we can do a lot of interesting consideration, considering the ecologic part, like the number of pneumatophores, because from the photo we can count them. So we can analyze the anoxia of the soil, because if we have a high number of pneumatophore, this means that the soil is anoxic. And we need also to consider the operator, the field work, and the cost. We need to do that. So this method is also really interesting because it saves a lot of time in the field by decreasing mission cost. And because we take a photo and we have all the time that we want for analyze it in laboratory with our team. Thank you for your attention.